Unfortunately, I once again need to talk about Ned Fulmer because he's now making a total fool of himself. Again, like this is not you haven't clicked on an old video. He's doing it again. So first you will know the whole drama that went down with Ned Fulmer. He was part of the Try Guys, right? He was a try guy. He was a guy who tried. That was such a stupid joke. Then he cheated on his wife despite his brand of being the wife guy. And this not only destroyed his wife and his marriage and the lives of his children, it also destroyed any trust between him and the other Try Guys because it put their business in jeopardy. Because the person he was having an affair with, not just cheating, an affair, was an employee of the Try Guys. It's a whole big mess. You will know about this already, okay? Everybody knows about this. It was huge news, not just like YouTube news, it was mainstream news too. Then he disappeared for like 2 or 3 years and came back very recently with a new podcast because if there's anything that a man is going to do, it's make a podcast. They got a lot to say, guys. I don't know what to tell you, but he made a podcast, and his very first episode back was chatting with his wife about his affair. I'm not going to go over everything we talked about then, right? Because I made a whole video going through the entirety of that podcast episode, and I think it would be redundant to do that again. But I think it is worth noting that it was embarrassing. It was not good. It seemed like a weird thing to do. He kind of said a lot of weird shit, and it just gave me the opinion, or gave me the idea that he kind of saw this whole thing differently than Ariel did, than the woman he cheated on, obviously. Now, as you will see, the very first episode that he did, it got 1.2 million views. Obviously, it got 1.2 million views. This was a story that everybody was talking about when it happened. Nobody had heard from these people, and of course, they wanted to hear what Ariel had to say. So, yes, people tuned in to watch that, but very quickly after that, it dropped. Now, did I say the name of this podcast? No, it's Rock Bottom with Ned Fulmer because, of course, he makes this whole situation about him. Him having an affair was his rock bottom. Not his wife's, his. But after that, he did an episode that got 50,000 views, then we got 21,000, 16, 10, 6.2, 2.9, and 2.2 on an episode 5 days ago. So you can see it going down and down and down. And that is because nobody cares. Who is this man qualified to be having these conversations with these people? And there is like a bit of a theme of talking about infidelity and cheating with these people, but it's like the people he's talking to have been cheated on, and he cheated on his wife. So like it's kind of a bad look. Also, he's just not particularly good at interviewing people. That is a skill that you can grow and get better at. He just hasn't achieved that yet. There's also like a mix of quality in these videos. I'm not going to play them, but like if we are to just let this one play, you can see this one is like a Zoom call where he's not even bothering to use like a proper camera for the Zoom call, whereas this one was a full production in the studio. Then we've got the studio again. Hello, this one just doesn't want to work. This is another Zoom call.
I
No.
was canceled for my workshop prices.
I didn't mean to click that, but yeah, he has a whole a whole episode of his podcast talking about somebody being cancelled. It's not interesting. Also, the thumbnails aren't very good. Like, it's very much relying on you caring about his face, whereas they don't. Like, you need to tell something else with your thumbnails. But he has also started posting to his own channel, Ned Fulmer, not the podcast channel. The first episode got 1 million views. Then we got 121,000, so it went down. We got another 1 million views on this fighter jet thing. Then he has a video that we're going to talk about today, if you can't guess why. And then which country has the best noodles? Just a tax write off, I guess. And like, this is very much like, it's obvious, right? This is content he would have been making with the Try Guys, would have been making with BuzzFeed. Like, it's very that style of content, and fine, that's what you want to do, but it's just not working for him. That content exists already, and it's from a company that had people in it that you betrayed. It's from that content is from a company where everybody who watches that other content knows what you did, and you've left a bad taste in their mouth. So this just does not seem the way to go. But like I said, we're going to be talking about this particular video right here because he had some very interesting takes on this video, because in it he's talking about the video he did with Ariel and the backlash that it got and what people are saying about it and his perspective, because clearly we haven't had enough of his perspective, for God's sake. And it's just a lot. But first, need to hydrate. Did you know that you can buy these? I did not. I found this the other day. Don't know if you can see. PalestineDrinks.com. You can get that. Just thought I would let you know because I didn't know that this existed, and it would have been really great if I had known sooner, because then I could have been buying them. So now you can buy them, and we can all buy them. So there's Ned in all his glory, sure, if we're gonna call it that. You can see it's a very similar kind of sit down. Hey guys, it's me. I have serious things to talk about. Now, I wouldn't call this a YouTuber apology, but it's YouTuber apology adjacent. But, you know, he's not calling it an apology. There's no, I'm taking accountability. I know what I've done wrong. And also, he doesn't apologize. He actually says we're the problem. I wonder if he said that to his wife too. Kind of sounds like it. I am going to be mean and snotty and petty throughout all of this because I'll tell you exactly why. I want to. He brings out the petty in me. I can't just look at this man. Look at his face. This is like a man who would bring out the pettiness in you. You just can't help it. But before we actually watch that, I just really quickly need to say I have a really important announcement. Not a sponsor, not me promoting my book, even though it is sitting right here very prominently. But it is not that. I have a very, 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 very important update. Please listen. I won't take too long. So, it is actually related to my book, but it's not promoting the book. My book was supposed to come out mid-November. That has been the date. That has been set to go out for a while. However, something kind of cool has happened. Something very exciting. An opportunity, an exciting opportunity has come about, and I want to take the time to explore that opportunity a little bit. And because of that, I have had to make the decision to push back the release date of the book. Now, I can't go into details yet because it's something that's still being explored, but I promise you this is a really, really good thing. And as soon as I can, I will tell you what's happening, why the book is being delayed, and what the new release date is. As of now, I do not have that information. I'm sorry. But as soon as I know, as soon as I have a new release date, I will tell you. And I promise you, this is not just a random delay. It's not because the book's not written. It clearly is. It's just I want to see what happens here, and I swear it is for a good reason. It really is. So thank you for your patience and your support. I already posted about this on Kickstarter, and to my email subscribers and all the people who had pre-ordered the book. So far everyone has been very supportive and has understood that this is a good thing. It's not me taking the piss. All right, I swear to God. However, with that being said, I know because this was set to be shipped out in mid-November, there are people who may have ordered the book with the intent of it being a Christmas present, or they may have needed it on the original timeline for some reason, right? One reason or another, present for somebody. I don't know what your reasons are. If this is the case for you and you've pre-ordered the book and it's meant to be a present or something like that and you need it on the original timelines, then just send me an email to my author email, which is on my website. I don't want to say it here because then it gets put into systems and I'll get loads of spam, and I get enough spam on all my other emails as it is. But if you just go on my website, scroll to the bottom, it is there. Please do not email the email that is listed in the description of this video because that is for brand sponsorships only. Okay, but email my author email. Actually, I will just say, if I say it really quietly, will nobody find it? contact@evaalexandra.com. Okay, KS, not an X, because that is how you spell it. Email me that with your order number. I don't need to know your reasons, okay? Your reasons are your reasons. You want the book. You want the book. That's all fine. And I will send you a copy of the book, okay? You will get a copy of the book if you need it on the original timeline. However, I need to stress that means your version may be different from the final version that people get. So if you are okay with that and you need the book, and I do stress, like, if you can wait, please do. I promise you it's worth it. But if you need the book, just email me. I will send it to you. For whatever reason, you don't need to justify it to me. Okay? It's your own business. Just email me with the order number and I will get that sorted for you. Okay? All good. But if you can wait, please do. It'll be worth it. And thank you so much, everybody, for your support. And now let's, talk crap about this guy instead. So I'm gonna have my big headphones on today because I can't find any of my other headphones because I am useless as a person sometimes.
Hello. I've heard a lot of the commentary and reactions to my podcast episode.
So for some reason, everything is messing with me today. And this is just playing out loud. I feel like Ned Fulmer has cursed me for some reason because I was just recording a video for Patreon where it was playing through my headphones, no problem. I literally just finished that. Why is this now not working? It is definitely him. It is the curse of Ned. Let's try this again, shall we?
Episode with Ariel.
There we go.
And I wanted to take this video to address some of them. That episode with Ariel was mostly about her story, and now in this video, I'll tell a little bit more of mine.
So excited to hear the side of the story of the man who had an affair with his employee. So excited to hear the side of the story of the man who had an affair with his employee. I'm sure it's going to be really, really good and definitely not making himself the victim at all. Are you convinced? I'm convinced.
There's a lot that we wanted to keep private, but some things I'll touch on today. First, I know that it was a very painful and uncomfortable conversation to watch. I know for some of you
I want to know. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pause him every 2 seconds. I promise you, but I want to know who trained him that this was a good face to be making? Who told him? Like, what PR manager, what advice, what YouTube video told him that is the face that's going to make people feel sympathy? Because that is not how his face always looks. He does this when he's like, guys, this is hard for me too. It's not working. Do a normal thing. I'm really nitpicking. I'm sorry.
it reopened things. For us, it felt like a necessary step to be able to move forward. We knew we would always get these sort of questions in any context online, and it felt like the only way to move forward was just to face it head on. As has been reported in interviews, launching the podcast with a conversation with Ariel was Ariel's idea. She's a stakeholder in the Rock Bottom podcast and this new channel, and she wants it to be successful. So
I get why he's saying this, right? He's not like, he's trying to say, I didn't force her into doing this. I didn't pressure her. It was her idea. She's a stakeholder. And maybe this is me just being really ungenerous with my assessments of this, but given what we've seen from him, I find it very difficult to be generous with my assessments of him and what he says, but it gives me the idea that maybe, potentially, in my opinion, he's kind of using this as a way to manipulate people into being like, well, she's a stakeholder, so if my podcast does well, that means she benefits, so you should watch my podcast that's failing and not doing well, because then she benefits from that. You want to support Ariel, right? So to support Ariel, you got to support me. Now, I'm not saying that's what he's doing. Somebody might say that. I would never say that. I didn't say that. How dare you accuse me?
So that was part of the reason why, in terms of having that conversation, we did it together rather than on any other platform. We knew it would draw a lot of attention, and I know that some of you have only seen 15.
Okay, we'll get back to that, but he is saying like we used it for clickbait. At least you admit it, right? Like it's obvious. You used this because you knew it was going to get attention. It would give a big boost to the podcast straight away. It wouldn't be an immediate flop. However, you can't help the fact that people only wanted to watch that episode because they cared about the drama, and now they don't actually care about the podcast. Like, I'm sorry, like, I don't say it to be mean. I genuinely don't, as petty as I'm being. Like, I don't say it to be mean, but that is the reality of it. People only watched because they wanted to hear about the drama, and now they don't care anymore because you're not talking about that, you know? And even if you continue to talk about it for every episode, it would be boring. Even though he occasionally mentions his own affair or whatever, it's still not like the topic of conversation, and it's not Ariel speaking, telling her side of the story, so nobody cares.
I know that some of you have only seen 15-second clips of me putting my foot in my mouth, but I hope for those that watch the full hour that you took something away from it.
This man said in the most media trained way possible, if you thought that that interview was bad, it was only because you didn't see the whole video. You just saw a 15-second clip. It's your fault. You're misinterpreting it. I'm the victim. That is not what happened. You are wrong, and I am right. It's so like blatant and egregious, and he thinks he's being so subtle with it, but he's not. He's literally saying people are misinterpreting this because they didn't watch the whole clip. And if you watch the whole clip, you would be supporting me. Except, like, it has 1 million views, 1.2 million views. 1.2 million people watched that whole thing and did not agree with you. They left comments saying they're only here to support Ariel. They watched the video. And then there's also more people who didn't watch the video on your channel, but watched it elsewhere, watched people reacting to it, watched people talking about it. I did a whole video reacting to the whole thing. I went through the entire hour-long podcast with you guys, and we broke it down step by step and gave our live reaction and commentary and thoughts on that video. And the fact of the matter is that it was weird, okay? It was weird. And you don't come off as great. Because you did have an affair. You did. And it's not even like the thing about his podcast not doing well now is not a matter of like people. I don't know. It's not even to do with the drama anymore. It's just like people aren't interested in the podcast. They're just not. Like, I'm sorry. It's just the way that it is.
You know, any clip that you see on TikTok is just one small snippet of an hour-long conversation of 3 years of trying to work through this.
Except we watched the whole thing, Ned. Except Ned. We watched the whole thing. We saw the whole thing with our eyes. We listened with our ears. What do you want me to say to that? You're saying, oh, with his smug face, still trying to be like, I'm the victim. You're trying to like, I'm repeating myself now, see? Because he's repeating himself. You're trying to make it seem like we are misconstruing what you're saying, and it's like bad faith actors clipping you out of context, and then people only saw that clip, except so many people saw the whole thing and just still didn't like you. Like, no matter how much work you've done in the background, like, unless people can actually see that you're a different person, they're just not gonna like you. And some people still won't like you, and that's just like because that's just how this stuff works. Like, your brand is forever going to be tainted with this. And that is the consequences of your own actions, and you have to accept that that is the consequence of your action. Like, if you take it back to the most fundamental level, right? He's saying, oh, I'm getting backlash for the podcast episode, blah, blah, blah. But you're getting backlash for the podcast episode because you had an affair, not just cheating once, a whole affair with an employee of the Try Guys. You destroyed your marriage. You hurt the woman you love, even though you made your whole brand being, you know, the wife guy. You hurt your kids. You hurt your friends and your colleagues. You made huge, huge problems for their business. And so people have a lot to say about you and the way you came back to the internet because they don't like what you did then. You chose to have the affair, whatever like therapy he's done, which he will get into, whatever therapy you've done and reasoning you've given it. It doesn't matter. You still did it and you chose to do it, and these are the consequences. Some people are never going to forgive you, and some people are never going to think of you as anything other than the guy who cheated on his wife. That is the consequence, and you have to accept that. And that should be something that you learned in therapy.
After Discovery, I started an intensive program of therapy, group therapy, and work to really try to understand what I had done, why I had done it, and what it meant for my relationship and my life. This involved a lot of facing rationalizations, denials, minimizations, all of these mental clouds that help you continue behavior that you know is hurtful and you still do it anyways. So it let me face the...
I mean, yeah, I guess that's a good thing. That is a problem. And I'm not saying that nobody can ever learn and be better. It's just like, it's not everybody else's job to coddle you and make you feel better about what you did. Like, that is just that. And you can explain yourself all you want to, dude. Like, you really can. And some people maybe will be on your side, but it's not my job. It's not any viewer's job to tell you, it's okay, buddy, it's okay, you had an affair, it's okay, we forgive you now. And now we watch every episode of your podcast and make you rich because Ariel has a stake in it and we want to support her, but we also want to support you because we love you now. Yay.
Face the truth and acknowledge in no uncertain terms that I cheated on my wife with an employee of my business, and it caused her immense pain and shattered our marriage, and also caused a lot of pain to a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Those were my selfish actions and my choices.
Yes, they were.
From there, I sought to understand the patterns of behavior that led to this. I did work with internal family systems and parts work, started in the 12-step program, and continued to understand why I had done what I did, what the underlying issues were, and what it was that I was running from.
One of the things that stood out to me in his original podcast episode, which I would recommend if you haven't seen it or you just want a reminder, go back and watch it. It's linked in the description. But when he did that podcast episode with Ariel, I can't remember the exact wording, but he said something like, there was a lot of like pressure being the wife guy and this perfect family guy and having everybody see him that way. And it was kind of like, the implication was that why he had an affair, right? It was too much pressure. Or like he said in another interview, one of the ones on his podcast, we are not going to go through it, but he said something about like the monotony of married life. So basically he was just bored and he didn't want to be the wife guy, and he's saying like that like it's a legitimate excuse for having an affair. And I just think like, okay, sure, that's your reason, right? When you go to therapy, that you got to be honest with your therapist, right? You got to work through stuff and you need to admit like, yeah, I was just bored, or yeah, I just felt like really pigeonholed as this wife guy and I wanted something more exciting or whatever. That's good to actually work through that with your therapist, but the issue is here, you're making it the internet's problem and then you're expecting us to applaud you for it. You see what I mean? Like, you are the one bringing this to the internet and expecting us to go, good job, you worked on yourself and now you know why you did it. But it's like, that's a really most people are going to see that. Most people are not your therapists who are here to actually help you work through stuff. Most people are just casual viewers of this drama who see you talking about this and go, that is a really weird reason to have an affair. And that's the end of it. You don't have to bring it to the internet, but if you want to, and that's something you want to do, fine, whatever. But you can't expect people to be like, okay, good job, dude. Let's watch every episode of your podcast now because you went to therapy? What is this with people going to therapy once and then thinking they're owed some kind of something? No, that is what your therapist is for. That is not what the internet is for.
When I chose to do that selfish and self-destructive behavior. In terms of my relationship with Ariel, it started as a therapeutic separation, and then from there...
What is a therapeutic separation? Is it like a temporary separation? I get like see, this is why this is also weird, because it feels like it's none of my business, right? Like, I feel like I shouldn't be hearing this stuff, but he's the one putting it on the internet, and presumably, I'd like to assume Ariel signed off on this, or at least knew about it. So, like, I guess he's making it our business, but it still feels like, why am I hearing about, like, your therapeutic separation? It's very strange.
There, I prepared a disclosure document that answered all of her questions and volunteered for a lie detector test to then...
Lie detectors are bullshit, dude. Do people not know this? Like, lie detectors are, like, not valid sources of, like, information. That's why they don't just, like, anytime they have to take somebody to court to figure out if they did a crime, they don't just hook them up to a lie detector, because they're not, like, proper scientific evidence. They're all based on different things. I think from what I remember from college, like, a lot of them are based on sweat. It's how much you're sweating. It's like, lie detectors are bullshit. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's great that you were willing to do that if you thought it was a real thing. I'm sure you did think it was a real thing. But can we all just acknowledge that if somebody is hooked up to a lie detector test and it says they lied, it doesn't mean that they did. And if it says they told the truth, it doesn't mean that they did. Like, for example, sociopaths, by the way, I'm not calling him sociopath. I'm like talking about actual scientific stuff here. Sociopaths are really good at beating lie detector tests because when they lie, there's no physiological response because they don't feel any sort of way about it. Whereas, like, everybody has different reactions as well. So you might get somebody who's just like really nervous about being asked questions in general, and then the answer all weird, or the answers come out weird. It's a whole thing. Let's not get into it. But basically, that it's just making me giggle.
In a therapeutic setting, convey that information to her so that we could build something new on the same page of knowing exactly everything that happened. And this is a well-known therapeutic technique for people trying to recover from betrayal trauma. And speaking of betrayal trauma, that is a phrase that I learned. The idea of betrayal trauma and integrity abuse, and these ways that are, systems and language for understanding the pain and why keeping secrets like that, especially of a sexual nature, can be so damaging to your partnership. So those were things that I learned about and
You had to
continue to
learn.
practice.
You had to learn that having an affair was gonna be harmful to your partner. I guess he's saying the terminology is what he learned, but like, I mean, yeah, the terminology gives you a framework, but surely you should have known that, like, you were having an affair. It was going to come out there. Like, you cannot expect that to not come out, especially when you're a public figure, and it is going to hurt your wife. Even like in the podcast episode, like, I got the impression that he was hoping she would forgive him eventually and they would get back together. That is the impression that I got. I'm not saying that that's true. That's just how I saw it. It seemed like he very much felt like there was hope of them getting back together. And even when she said, like, she doesn't forgive him, he was like, oh, that's very hurtful to hear. I was like, well, yeah, you had an affair. Again, it's the consequences of your actions. You just have to accept that.
On a daily basis when it comes to saying what I mean and doing what I say, and when I make a mistake, immediately correcting it to stay in with, like, keep my sense of integrity intact. Additionally, I practice empathy and listening and boundaries with Ariel.
I shouldn't be laughing when he practices empathy and listening and boundaries with Ariel. My dude, were you not doing these things already? This is like, oh my god. Sometimes I fear for straight people. You should be being empathetic to your partner. Anyway, you should be trying to understand your partner. Anyway, you should be listening to your partner. Anyway, maybe boundaries is a trickier one for people. I'll accept that, right? Like setting boundaries and understanding boundaries, right? But like the listening and the empathy thing, dude, dude, like you should just be doing that. Also, I love, the meme of like men learning about empathy. You're not you're not helping the male species here, dude, by saying this.
And others, which, is sort of part of what was damaged about my brain.
Sorry, I want to hear that again.
And others, which, is additionally, I practice empathy and listening and boundaries with Ariel and others, which, is sort of part of what was damaged about my brain.
So is he saying he didn't feel empathy before this? Is that like, this is me trying to interpret what he's saying. I'm not saying for sure this is what he's saying. But is he suggesting that before he had an affair, he did not have empathy for other people and that he did not listen to other people? Because again, like I get that that can happen, right? You can fix that in therapy and it's good to recognize it, but it's like I think he thinks this is making him look good, but it's not. Like he's trying to frame it around this like I'm being honest and being vulnerable thing, which okay, say whatever you want on the internet. Like whatever. Share whatever stories you want, be vulnerable, but it's not just that he's trying to share and be vulnerable because he's addressing the backlash because he doesn't like the fact that people still don't like him and haven't forgiven him. And also because this is part of his brand. Like he's putting this on his channel because he wants people to watch his videos because he wants to succeed and he wants to keep up his career as an online content creator. He doesn't want a real job. He wants this job. Obviously it's a real job, but you know what I mean.
So from there, Ariel prepared an impact letter that described all of the pain that she felt, and I was able to hear that and take it in and sit with it to really understand all of the ways that my betrayal had affected her and what it meant through her point of view. So this was a long process that it took, approximately 2 years, and continues work even to this day at the 3-year mark, even though we decided to separate officially 2 years in. It's something that I'm really proud of. That's really changed my life, and I understand that if you, a viewer, is watching this for the first time or just sees this 15-second clip on TikTok.
15-second clip again. I swear to God, people watched the whole thing. People watched the whole thing. People watched the whole thing. Okay? I watched the whole thing and I was not on your side. That's my prerogative, okay? I don't have to side with you. I don't think you're the most evil creature on earth, but I don't like you and I have no interest in watching your podcast unless it's like to make a video about it.
You don't understand everything that has led us to this point. And I know
you don't understand all the work I've done, okay? So I am better and you should forgive me.
I know that it'll take time. And if you want to just judge me off of one clip of me talking about society, which obviously was not the best response to that situation, you are welcome to do that. I know that people.
Why are you insisting that people are judging you off of one clip? People who watch, I'm gonna have to keep repeating this because apparently it's not going into your brain. People who watched the full podcast episode did not agree with you. They didn't like the things you were saying. They thought you came off as conceited or weird or up your own ass or only concerned with your own feelings. Or they just simply didn't like you. It's not because, like, is this how he's having to rationalize it in his head? Oh, people are against me, but it's only because they just saw that 1 15-second clip. No, dude, they just don't like you. I gotta stop saying dude, it's getting really obnoxious. But, like, stop harping on about this. Like, are you trying to convince yourself or are you trying to convince us? Is this man trying to gaslight me right now? For God's sake, it's exhausting.
That people have a choice when it comes to what they watch and what they consume. And if people don't want to continue engaging with me on the internet, then that's a consequence of my actions and
Yeah,
something
exactly.
that I have accepted.
Clearly not, because we're here.
Moving forward, I really believe in the mission of the Rock Bottom podcast to foster conversations with empathy and curiosity. It stems from
Really support the mission of me continuing to have a job.
a lot of that group therapy work, of seeing how much someone sharing how they're addressing the wreckage in their life that they caused and how they're overcoming a challenge can really be a catalyst for healing. So if it's affected you so far, I'm grateful for that. And if you are wondering what the show is about, I encourage you to check it out.
Please watch my show,
so that
please.
will be on the Rock Bottom channel.
It just makes it so blatant he's doing this to get people to try and watch his podcast, right? It's so blatant. Okay, let me make a drama video so that I can get more attention and then people will watch my podcast that's not doing well.
Channel, and on this channel it'll be more entertainment forward, still under the values of curiosity and empathy. I know
Because I
people
learned
are
what
saying
empathy
that it's
means.
similar to some of the stuff I did before with BuzzFeed and Try Guys, and that's true. It's the DNA of stuff that I love making, mixing education with entertainment, and developing new show concepts that I'm really excited, but it's not going to be too drastically different than the type of work I did before, because that's just...
Sorry, I started zoning out there. I find the cadence of his voice when he's trying to be humble and likable really tiring. Maybe for my silly little ADHD brain, it's just not. There's not enough flashing lights. There's not enough colors. There's not enough angle changes. I'm joking, by the way.
Who I am and the type of stuff that I like to make. And I sincerely hope that you are connecting with it and resonating with it. And if not, that's okay too. Like I said, it's a consequence of my actions.
Yeah.
So
why are we here?
That's the type of community that I'm building here. I'm grateful for you watching this video and listening, and I will see you around. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. So there's two main issues with this, right? I mean, there's plenty of issues, but there's two issues that I have specifically, which is one, he is trying to frame this as anybody who doesn't like me or is saying bad things about me or about the podcast episode, it's only because they saw one taken out of context clip, 1 15-second clip on TikTok, when that is just not the case. Because I'm sitting here saying bad things about you and about the podcast. And I watched the whole episode. So what are we going to do about that, bucko? What's your excuse there? Plenty of people saw the full episode and still didn't like you. I hate to repeat myself, but at this point it feels like I have to for this to get into his brain. Not like he's going to watch this, but you know what I mean. And the second issue is the fact that, yes, you can be vulnerable and you can talk about your experiences and the bad things you've done online and how you've grown. But you can't expect people to feel bad for you or to side with you or to anything really. He's making it our problem. He's choosing to make it our problem and then getting upset when we don't coddle him. you're a grown man who had an affair. Like, it is not my job to coddle you. I'm sorry. Like, we're just not going to do that. And actually, I'm adding a bonus third problem, which is the fact that he's just doing this to get more attention on him. He's using the drama to get more attention on him. He knows it works because, like he said, they made that first episode to be with Ariel on purpose because the dramatic nature of it was going to get a lot of attention. And it did. Now the podcast is not doing well. He's using drama once again, try and get attention on him. So hopefully it gets more attention on the podcast. It's just very blatant. It's very ick. But I want to have a look at the comments very quickly. See what people are saying. It'd be so great if you could see the comments too. Oh, look, angel number. Brother, genuinely just get a normal job. This is so embarrassing. I mean, yeah, like it's not working for you. You're probably losing money with the production of stuff. Like, Engagement's so bad he had to open the comments back up. Lol. Okay, yeah. So this video had comments turned off originally, and now they're back on, as you can see. Which, like, yeah, it's got 28,000 views. It's doing fine, I suppose. I practice listening and empathy, CEO of bare minimum. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is just stuff you should be doing anyway. The only thing that could have made this response worse would have been a ukulele. I love that we... He's like, what would be the version of that? I guess, Toxic Gossip Train feels pretty universal. Pretty universal. I only had one video people watched, and I will reference it to get people to tune back in. Exactly what I'm saying. He just wants people to continue watching. It's not going to work, though. As someone who watched the full hour, it wasn't 15-second clips of foot in mouth. It was 1 full hour of foot in mouth. I agree. Let's move this so you guys can actually see what people are saying. The way he talks, his cadence, his empty stare, the odd gaps in his speech, it all makes me deeply uncomfortable. Me too, Penelope2152. He's like a shell of a human being, and it's disturbing. The Desperate Guy is a good name for you. I watched the full hour, and you took zero accountability during the entire duration of the podcast. I'm sorry to hear Ariel is a stakeholder in your rock bottom podcast. I'm not, because even if it like makes a little bit of money, she still gets some money out of it. Out of that 1.2, I don't know how much money a 1.2 million video would make. I've never had a video hit 1 million, or even close. So I have no idea how much money that would make. I'm sure a lot though. So hopefully she got a bit of that ching, you know. I'm 2 minutes in and you're already saying, it was just clips on TikTok, you misunderstand me. You're not the victim and people aren't dumb. I'm glad other people are seeing that too. And I think this kind of sums it up. Just let it go, man. Your YouTube days are over. Like, unless he wants to start making really low budget stuff so that he's not actively losing money, then yeah, I think he is just gonna have to let it go. To be honest with you, like it's not working out for you, dude. Like we saw, it's low views, and there's no shame in it. You can keep trying. Maybe something will kick off, but I just think like expecting people to forgive you is just not gonna work. If you keep going, you'll eventually find a new audience, right? Like that is it. But the people who know about this, the people who followed this, the people who tuned in for the drama are just not going to side with you, and you need to stop expecting that to happen, because just like Ariel doesn't have to forgive you, neither do we. And in fact, we have to forgive you less because we were not once married to you. We do not know you in real life. You are not our problem. But with that being said, all the best to Ariel. I don't know the terms of the whole stakeholder thing. I hope she didn't have to invest anything. I hope she doesn't have to invest anything. I hope she just makes a little bit of cash, a little bit of extra cash from that. Because we love Ariel. She is great, and he is, in my opinion, a loser, and he annoys me. Was I mean in this episode? Yes. Did I just call this video an episode? Yes, because this man has confused me. And I just want to remind you guys really quickly, the thing I said about the book, it is being pushed back. It's for a good reason. And don't forget to email me with your order number if you need it on time for the original timeline of being shipped out in mid-November, and I will send it to you. But if you can wait, then please do. Thank you so much for your support. But anyway, let me know what you thought about this whole situation. I think you got enough of my thoughts already. I don't think I need to keep harping on about it. If you don't leave me a comment about that, then leave me a comment that says desperate guy, because that's the comment that I have still up on my screen right there. And I think I had some other things to say to you guys as well. Oh yeah, I just posted a video on Patreon where I was looking at Charlie XCX's new music, so you can check that out if you want to. Like, comment, share, follow me on social media. I am VangelinaSkov everywhere, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you in the next one. Bye!